Hello everybody, welcome into the Hobby Bar. This is Jason, and welcome. Today we'll be continuing on these three guys again to hopefully get all the details done, maybe push towards getting their basing done next time, because these details are quite a bit. Weaponry, claws, tongue on that guy, bottom of the table on this guy, a lot of stuff to do, so hopefully we can get most of that done today. Get the tops of this hologram back up to near white and stuff. Yeah, that's the plan at least. Hopefully we can do that and get that done. Maybe get a bit of purple around some of the more alien areas as well, just because I noticed some of the details kind of aren't standing out very well. But anyway, if you do any hobbying, feel free to jump in, join along, get something done, rock on. If not, hey, that's cool too. I appreciate you coming by, hanging out for a bit, and hopefully you get whatever you're working on done and have a good time. But with that, go ahead and roll up your own music, and let's dive into getting these three closer to being completed. Alrighty, first up, we got some Blood Angels Red. It's a contrast paint from Citadel. Just wanted to use this real quick on the tongue of the Iconward. Just because, figure, make it stand out a bit, make it red, and use a contrast paint, because that'll be simple. Then, we dive into Viejo Game Ink Red. I decided to use the Game Ink for the, wrappings on them, just because it's a slightly different red, ever so slightly different, and, it's a little bit thinner than the contrast, so I have a little bit more control over it. Big thing for this episode, if you haven't noticed from when I was washing off the brush of the Blood Angels Red, is there's no audio on the video. I forgot to turn back on the audio on the camera so that I would record that after recording the intro. So yeah, all of the video will have no audio because I caught it right at the end. And yeah. This rate I'm kind of going to have to make myself a checklist or something when to start up recording. Oh, jeez. Oh. Gotta be something different every time, right? Keep it interesting. But, we're also using the Game Ink here on the pipes, or the power coupling. Figure for all the power wires, just make them red. Nothing too fancy here. Just get it closer to completion here. Alrighty, next up is Citadel Ulthuan Grey. Wanted to bring in this color because I wanted to sort of build in the flatter areas on the hologram table here. This way it looks more just clear white, sort of. So it's like not really hard light, it's just clearish, I guess. Yeah, this way that bluish color can be more on the edges and in the recesses to give it more of a texture for the blue than making it sort of the main color there. So that's why I wanted to bring in Ulthuan Grey here and just hit all the flat areas on top. Try to hit some of the connector pieces, but I had it thinned down a little bit much, I think, so it really didn't coat all that well. But for what I wanted it to do, kind of did its job. Give it that sort of slightly ghostly vibe, I guess you could say, or not quite all there vibe, as the hologram table should have. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do with this paint. And again, sorry about the no audio, but here in a little bit we'll start up on another color. So hopefully it won't be too long of a break between chatting and getting to the next paint. Later on it might be a bit of an issue, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Alrighty, here we are bringing in Citadel Rhinox Hide. I wanted to use this paint for the base coat on all of the nails and bits like that. The claws, the little spikes coming off the Iconward's head. And then the claw on the Primus. I wanted to use the Rhinox Hide because I figured this can be sort of that really dark color undertone for the nails. Trying to think of what the effect would be most like. But basically I wanted it to sort of go from that to the more normalish nail colors further up. So very thin area of this, but it can also be the base coat color, I figured. For this brown with a slight bit of red in it. But that's why I wanted to use Rhinox Hide on them. Just to make it a little more interesting than sort of stony, bony colored nails. So yeah, that's why I figured, try it out with this Rhinox Hide stuff first. Experimenting a bit more on these guys. Even though kind of slows me down a bit, just because then I'm not getting it finished quite as quickly, because I'm playing around and experimenting, but yeah. Should be an interesting outcome at least for this. But yeah, just wrap it up here with the little claws here. Next we're busting out Cuttlefish Colors Purple Wash. I wanted to use this on the more alien features, just to sort of bring back in a purplish color in there. I've noticed when applying the Cuttlefish Colors washes, they tend to be very bright, and then as they dry, somehow, some magical way of science and stuff, they seem to darken down a little bit, so it's not quite as bright purple like it looks in the bottle there, or even down below. It's a much more subtle shade to it when it dries, so not sure how it happens, but it does, and helps everything sort of pop, get that definition going. But yeah, so I wanted to use it on all of the more alien features here, mostly on this guy's head and arms and stuff. But then the Primus has some more alien features, and also I figured for the sort of humanish parts, there's like veins popping out on the side of their heads and stuff, so you'll see me still put some on their faces. But yeah, that's not really the primary area, so that's why I don't go all over all of their head. I just sort of hit the veiny area and then like the little ridges on their forehead. I also hit that part with the purple wash. But yeah, we're just going around adding a bit of purple wash here into the bottom areas on the arms. I didn't want to do an all over wash because I didn't want it to knock down the colors on top too much. Except for like where there's potentially recesses where it would settle in. So yeah. Fairly simple application of it across all of them. I did decide to add some to the Nexos as well, even though he's the most human of them. I did want to hit the ridge on his head and his brain bit. And then I just decided, oh, what the heck, I'll add it to his hand as well. Just change it up, add a bit of color elsewhere. So we'll be doing that too on this guy. But with that, I shall catch up with you all here in a bit for the next paint. Alrighty, here we are busting out Cephalopod Studios Blackwash. Wanted to use the Blackwash here on the metal crossbar members for these blades on the Iconward. Figured they don't really take care of their stuff all that well, even though there's gold on it. I figured the crossbar metal might be a bit dingy, dirty and stuff, so let's dirty it up with some black. I could have used brown instead if I wanted to just make a dirty metal. But figured, the dark metal will be fine. And then, because they don't care about Imperial technology, did the same to the table here. Wanted to darken it up with the black wash on it too. Yeah, just basically prepping the table up for its floaty completion. And yeah, nothing too fancy here with the black wash. I do sort of separate it out paddle at a time for for adding it, instead of going around the whole rim of the thing at a time. So I feel like taking it one panel at a time sort of helps it dry and whatnot. But yeah, we'll go ahead and continue this process here on this guy. Don't really use it on the other two otherwise, I believe. Then we also get some on the bottom of the floating disc, because I haven't really touched the bottom of the floating disc much. Also want to make sure I get the edges here. So I figured, oh, what the heck, we'll just blackwash the bottom of it. So this way it's all uniform and the same. But yeah, nothing too fancy going on. So yeah, we'll wrap up this process, and I'll catch up with you all shortly for the next paint. Alrighty, here we are busting out some Citadel Karak Stone. So this was what I figured would be the mid-tone of the claws, and otherwise nail or sharp bits from them for the alien bits. And that's why I wanted to base coat with the dark brown first. This way, this would sort of be able to be that sort of, I don't know what to call it, chitinous, be rhino horny, tusk-like, I don't know exactly what to call it, but yeah, that dark brown at the base of like horns and stuff up to lighter brown to tan to ivory color. Whatever that sort of transition effect would be called. That's sort of what I was going for here on these guys. That's why I wanted to start at the Rhinox Hide. But yeah, just adding it to the claws and the head little horn bits on the Iconward, and now we're coming into the claw on the Primus. Just doing that same little thing. So the Primus has like an augmented claw, I guess. Like he has a weird contraption around the wrist, and then it like reaches up to the knuckles and onto the claw bits potentially. So we'll have to paint that a different color. Anyway, we're on to Citadel Ushabti Bone now, and this is just to bring in a highlight color after doing the Karak Stone. Figure Ushabti Bone will be nice. It's not quite as bright as Screaming Skull, because that's very close to white, so I figured Karak Stone to Ushabti should be fine, and pretty happy with how it turned out on these guys. So, quick little process here of just highlighting up the head little spines and the claws on the Iconward, and then going back to the Primus, just like we did with the Karak Stone, and getting it on there as well for the little augmented claw he's got. But yeah, we'll wrap up this process here with these colors for the sharp claw bits, and I'll catch up with you all here shortly for the next paint. Alrighty, here we are bringing in Citadel Balthasar Gold. This process is going to take a little while, not going to lie, because not only are we going to hit the Aquila on the floating table here, but we're also going to use some of it on the Primus and get that little bit around his wrist and on his claw hand, and get the pistol and do a bit on the sword, which I should have done in the same way as the claws, looking back on it, but oh well, we'll have to figure that out next time. Can't just complete a project. But yeah, this part's going to take quite a bit, because we also use it on the bands that bind all these power couplings together on the bottom. So there's a lot of little detail work here that we're going to be using this Balthasar Gold on, so this process will take some time. Probably not really going to talk for all of it, necessarily, even though there's no background audio, so can't even hear me rinsing off the brush and stuff. Hopefully I'll remember it next time. But yeah, saw me just check the Iconward there for anything that they may need. And now we're on to the claw of the Primus here. And we'll get up the metal bits that I want it to be in this sort of dirty-ish, goldish color. That's why I want to use Balthasar instead of Retributor armor. Because Retributor armor is a very nice, sharp gold, I would say, versus Balthasar Gold, which is sort of a dingy, dirty gold. Can probably make some cool effects by using the two of them. Start with Balthasar and then go to Retributor. It's more of a highlight tone, which I'm going to be doing for another piece that I'm working on off camera. But yeah, we'll go ahead and do this process up on these guys with Balthasar Gold, and I'll catch up with you all here in a little bit for the next paint. Which, as a friendly reminder, if you don't want to watch the rest of this, there are chapters in the little timeline there, or in the description there's time codes, but yeah. Alrighty, here we are breaking out Citadel Sycorax Bronze. Ugh, can't really say that very well. I wanted to use this as the highlight color over all that stuff that we did with Balthasar Gold. Mostly on just the Aquila and the claw here, which I'm going to spend most of the time on. Completely forget to highlight the pistol, even though that would be, in the light and everything. So, spoiler alert, we'll be coming back to this paint a little bit later before the last call, because thankfully I do realize it before the end. I was like, wait, something's wrong with his pistol. Next up, we're breaking out the Vallejo Game Ink Red again, because I noticed he has a band around his hand, sort of holding the claw, I guess, tubing, or metal rods closer to his hand. I don't know what's going on there on that, but there was a bandage there on his hand, so I wanted it to match the bandage on the other bro. And all of that, I wanted to take a look at the other guys just to make sure there's no other bandages or wrappings, and I noticed, oh yeah, on the crossbeam here, there's a couple of little bands that go across. So real quick, I wanted to get those down in red as well. Could have used like yellow or something, but figured the red bands would stand out a lot on these, and just sort of give the piece something else interesting to look at without being like too sharp by being like blue or some other color. I don't know, just red for these weird little cloth strips sort of struck my fancy, so that's what I wanted to use. Anyway, also, I noticed there was a very small one here on the handle of the sword. Alrighty, next up we're breaking out Citadel Auric Armour Gold. Wanted to highlight up the gold bits on all these guys. The embellishments and all that fun stuff here with the Auric Armour Gold. This way it really nice and shines and pops, even though it's basically the same color as the background now at this point. Because Auric Armour Gold is very yellow gold. So, oh well. It works well for the highlighting bits, and I do like how it shines up the little Genestealer Cult. I don't know what you would call those. They're icons on top of the Iconward. The iconography that the cult loves to show there with the semicircular little Tyrannid sort of Genestealer boy. But yeah. Go ahead and use that on the icon here, and then we hit the other two because they also have the little emblem dangling from their belts. Because even though they're sort of a cult secret society, they have to have something on them that's nice and shiny and tells everybody, hey, I'm a part of this nonsense, right? Because that makes sense in the 41st millennium. But yeah, we'll keep working at it with the Auric Armour Gold here, and then we'll change it up and bring back in another color. So I'll catch up with y'all here in a bit when we move on from the Auric Armour Gold. Alrighty, here we are breaking out Cephalopod Studios Black Wash again. This was towards the end of the painting session, so I was feeling kind of lazy and didn't even bother changing the brush from the one I was using for metallics for the wash here. But the pistol handle on the Nexos here was standing out too much. Alrighty, now we're back to Sycorax Bronze. Like I said, we would be back to for the pistol. Because it's like, wait, this thing's very flat and not as shiny as other things. What's wrong? Oh yeah, forgot to highlight it too while I was at it with the others, so need to break back out the paint and hit this one again. Alrighty, last call everybody, last call. So, getting there with these guys. Hopefully we can start working on basing next time. I know I've said that for a few times now, but getting there. Do notice on this bin there's a few bits that I may have missed here and there, and some inconsistencies on them, but from arm's length, they look pretty decent. So, pretty happy with them so far. Just not quite sure how I want to do the base on them. I'll probably end up with Astro Granite like a lot of the cultists, but not sure how we'll do it exactly. It'll be fun to figure all that out. Still gotta do the caution striping on the power bank there for the Nexos and some other stuff too. But, maybe we can work on that while the basing material dries. But yeah, that's it for this week. Next time, hopefully I'll remember to get the audio going. This way we don't lose out on that running in the background. But otherwise, I hope you all enjoyed and had a fantastic time getting whatever you were working on done, whether it was hobby related or not. Again, I appreciate you all swinging by and checking this out. I mostly just want to share the process with people for how I've been doing things. So, I appreciate y'all hanging out though, again. Yeah. But with that, have a good one everybody, and take care out there. See you around.